So here we are. We're in this great reset, if you will. People are questioning currency. They're questioning their political thoughts. They're questioning stores of value.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Daily Crypto. We are back with yet another quality educational video, and this time we have the CEO of Microstrategy Michael Saylor with us. But before we get started, let's see where the FNG index is at today. As of recording this video, we are at 22, which represents extreme fear. This is because Bitcoin is hanging by a thread, and if it fails to hold current levels, we might see a huge sell-off. Currently, Bitcoin and Ethereum are trading for $19,850 and $1,425 respectively. Let's get started with the interview now.
I think that the highlight in the past year is the institutional adoption of Bitcoin and the maturation of the asset class, along with the education of millions and millions of people as to why they might want digital property, what is a digital commodity, and what's its place in the macro economy. Now, to be clear, I still think we're very early, but that phrase, there are decades when nothing happens, and weeks when decades happen. It really refers to paradigm shifts, and if you think about the paradigm shift when automobiles arrived, there's the famous snapshot in New York City where there's just a bunch of horse and buggies, and 10 years later it's all cars, and in that 10 years you adopted it.
Michael Saylor is on point here when he says that the biggest event so far this year was the jump in institutional investors. We have witnessed more and more institutions stepping into the world of crypto and essentially embracing the crypto space. This institutional adoption will open the floodgates to more capital inflow as bigger players enter the game.
I think now we're staring at this paradigm shift of digital energy. And why would I want to move a block of $1 billion of something from point A to point B through cyberspace in a split second with instant final settlement, right? Initially, if you roll the clock back a decade, we didn't have it. Every financial crisis we've had, right, in the history of the world, and we've had 10,000 of them. There have been 10,000 currency collapses, from the Lydians to the Athenians to the Spartans to the Romans to the Venetians, to the Brits multiple times, to the Carthaginians. You could just go on, and the Persians, and go on and on and on and on. And the history is full of examples of an empire rises, someone mints a currency, the successors or the children of the conqueror debase the currency, the grandchildren debase it more, the great-grandchildren forget how they actually got the power, they spend everything, go wacky crazy. Pretty soon the economy collapses, you can't pay your soldiers, they all defect, and the barbarians come over the gate and they take everything, including your debased gold. They melt it down, they purify it, they mint their own coin, and the cycle starts again. That's literally taken place 10,000 times.
The biggest upside to cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin is the decentralized nature, which allows people to transfer any amount to anywhere in a split second without ever having third-party interference.
That's the history of money, and that's the history of economics. Along comes Satoshi, and we've got the white paper, and January 3rd, 2009, we launched this little monetary virus or this idea virus, and it kind of burns very, very low level for a while, and people aren't sure of it. It's a gimmicky thing, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and waiting for, well, why would you need it? And you had to be a visionary to kind of need it or get it. If you lived in Argentina and your currency collapsed, and you remember the currency collapsing, or if you lived in North Korea, or if you lived in Africa and your currency collapsed and you watched your family get wiped out, then maybe you get it. But that wasn't the mainstream, right? The Western world is not run by people that lost their family's life savings in Africa or South America. So it was an interesting idea, but it was a fringe idea until 2020. And in 2020, the monetary inflation rate tripled in the US. And what we saw was in the world's best economies, you're losing 15 to 20% of your economic value in the currency every year.
Michael explains how Bitcoin came into existence in 2009 and spread like a virus since then. However, it exploded in 2020 when inflation rates in the US tripled in a single year. That caught the attention of investors who were now looking for a hedge against inflation, and Bitcoin seemed just perfect.
And that's where you get a Sri Lanka, where literally the entire government collapses, or what you're seeing going on in Africa and Zimbabwe right now, or famously in Lebanon, where people have been breaking into banks, taking people hostage to get their own money back. Right? The bank robbers are robbing banks, and their demand is, give me my own money back, because the government stole the money and the banks froze it, devalued it, and they're going to give it back to you over the next 17 years, devaluing it 20% a year while they trickle it out to you. So here we are. We're in this great reset, if you will. People are questioning currency. They're questioning their political thoughts. They're questioning stores of value. And every conventional model, the 60-40 bond model, it's broken. Bonds, for example, are down 20% in the same year where stocks are down 20%. Okay, so that never happened for 20 years. So why does that happen? Because when you drive interest rates to zero, if you can't drive interest rates negative, then there's no way to get bonds to go up.
The traditional banking model is extremely flawed. Michael gives the example of how people in Lebanon are breaking into banks just to get their own money back. Bitcoin gives the power back to people and gives them the full ownership.
What if I can encrypt money such that nobody on earth, no government can debase it, no corporation can steal it? I don't trust anybody. People don't trust governments, right? We're at an all-time low in public trust of institutions. It doesn't matter what government. And they don't trust companies. And why? For good reason, because companies are influenced by governments, right? Right? If you're in America, you're certainly not going to trust a company in China. And if you're in China, you're certainly not going to trust a company in America. And then, a lot of people that don't trust domestic companies, and the Europeans and the Australians don't trust American companies either. So there's a lot of lack of trust. So if I can't trust that, then what can I trust? Where am I going to put my money?
Cryptocurrencies eliminate the middleman, which are banks and custodians, and give the owner all rights to their assets. Governments can easily seize all your assets without notice, and there's nothing you would be able to do. However, with cryptocurrencies, this gets fixed and people get to really own their assets.
So in terms of asset classes, the crazy, volatile Bitcoin is the best performing of all those major assets. And then you can say to yourself, well, I'm just going to invest in stocks. Okay, let's look at big tech. Google's up 37%, Apple's up 32%, Microsoft's up 16%, Amazon is down 22%, Facebook is down 45%, and Netflix is down 52%. Okay, little MicroStrategy, no one ever heard of, up 66%. Would you have guessed that a mid-sized software company, low-growth mid-sized software company nobody ever heard of, would outperform Google in the last 2 years by a factor of 2? And so last point I make, we compete against companies 100 times as big as us. Oracle, 100 times bigger than us. They're up 25%, IBM's up 3%, Salesforce is down 23%, SAP's down 47%.
Even with its crazy volatility, Bitcoin is the best performing asset if we compare it to commodities and tech stocks. This shows that Bitcoin adoption is continuously growing and people are feeling more and more comfortable with putting their money into Bitcoin.
Okay, so what is the lesson of that? The lesson is we're in the middle of chaos. There is no place to hide. Your choice is you could buy gold, but gold is dead metal and it's just getting ground into the dirt, right? I can seize your gold. Gold is the half-life of money, and gold is 35 years. And you can't put gold on 8 billion iPhones. So the problem is there's no tech in gold, and it was a good idea in the 19th century, and it's centralized, governments can seize it, and the gold miners keep debasing it. They keep mining more gold. right? In the best year, you get 2% more. In the worst year, someone seizes a bunch of gold, dump it on the market, you get more than 2%. So people are looking for a safe haven. What's it going to be? Property in Africa? Property in Venezuela? You can't have property in North Korea. Property in Argentina? A business? A business where? A business in Argentina where the currency collapses? What good are your cash flows if the currency that you generate the cash flows are collapses in value?
Bitcoin is the only safe option that people have when it comes to preserving their wealth. Real estate, stocks, businesses, and gold are all outdated options that will become irrelevant during a financial crisis. Thank you for watching this video. Leave a like and subscribe to our channel to keep watching content like this on a daily basis.